Hello YouTube, this is my Bandit 90. I'm gonna kind of start trying to do some educational type videos for people. Try to help some people out with some questions they might have. People that are trying to get into the hobby, or people that are interested in these animals. So I'm gonna try to do some of my care and caging type videos again. This is a Chinese water dragon enclosure that I've got right here, and as you can see, it's pretty well decorated. So, first thing you need to know about a Chinese water dragon, if you don't already have one or don't know anything about them, don't go out and buy one from a pet store, like PetSmart for example, and sit there and buy a 20-gallon fish tank and assume that the lizard's going to be fine and that the rest of its life, because it's not. They need lots of room. This one right now is not. It's not even the size that this animal needs, but for her current size, I'll show you her size right now. You can see right back there in that corner. See here? I mean, she's maybe a foot long or so, maybe foot and a half long. I mean, this one's perfect size for her right now, but this is not what they'll need as an adult. We're building one right now that'll be the right size for her by herself. I don't plan on getting another one, so. It's going to be, the one we're going to build is 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and 2 feet deep. So, and that'll be plenty of climbing space. They need lots and lots of climbing space, lots of room to get up and around. They need some basking spots. As you can see, I've got one basking spot there, one basking spot there. The tank itself is about 82 to 90 degrees. It's about 93 or 94 right there in those basking spots. And this one in particular is not 94. This one right here is about 89 or so. That's hot side, and this is the cool side. Alright. So, but the ambient temperature inside the tank is probably around 89 to 90, or 87 to 90. It kind of depends on our temperature outside, because I've got them in a sunroom right now until I can build my own room onto the house to put all of my exotics in. But they're in the sunroom right now, so it kind of depends on what the temperature is outside. It kind of varies temperature in this room a little bit. So, yeah, but that's a big thing, is the temperature. They need basking spots. Ambient temperature needs to be around 87 to 90, around in there. I mean, a couple of degrees to play with right there. And needs a basking spot. It needs at least one basking spot. And a hot side and a cool side. And they need humidity. They're from a tropical climate. They're a tropical animal, so they need humidity and moisture. As you can see, the fog, I've got a humidifier set up where it fogs in there, keeps my humidity around 70 to 75%. And I'll be completely honest with you, I don't know, I can't remember what the actual humidity is supposed to be for these. I think it's somewhere around 70 or 80%, something like that. Anyway, it's just 70 to 75% works perfect. Never had any problems out of it. She's as healthy as can be. She eats all the time. No health problems whatsoever. So, but that's one thing, you need to keep the humidity up. And with a glass aquarium, you're going to have a really hard time keeping your humidity up for starters. You have a really hard time keeping your heat up, because the heat will escape to the glass. You can get away with keeping humidity up if you cover the top, the screen top, limit your amount of airflow throughout that enclosure. So on this one right now, it's kind of just like rigged up now, but keeping humidity in. You can see I've got the lids laying up here, kind of blocking some airflow. They're there to keep it fogged up like this, to keep her good humidity going in there. And at night, I remove those when the lights go out to kind of relieve some of that and get some airflow and get some fresh air going in there for her and everything. So she likes it pretty well. I'm trying to think, there's lots of climbing space, remember that. I mean, it's a short tank. This one is 6 feet long, 2 feet deep, and 2 feet tall. I mean, it's not very tall, but I mean, I've got her lots and lots of climbing space. As you can see, she is never on the ground. I've made it to where she doesn't have to get on the ground to go through the whole thing. She can come all the way through here, through the air, on her branches and stuff. Lots of climbing space. They need that to get their muscles built up and get their bones built up. They need lots of calcium supplements. Well, not lots, but they need calcium supplements. gut load your crickets or super worms or whatever you're feeding them. With the cricket diet or whatever you feed them. But gut load your animals you're going to feed your lizard, Chinese water dragon, and I dust them, if I can get it, Repticalcium with D3. That's what I use to dust her food with. And they need calcium to keep their bones strong. They're really susceptible to MBD, metabolic bone disease, for those who don't know. And they don't have a proper climbing space, and they're cramped, whatever improper conditions they're in, they are susceptible to this, and it is a fatal disease. They will never get over it. There is no cure for MBD. So, something to think about. But one of the worst things people do is impulse buying. Going out and buying an animal they have no means to care for. They know nothing about it. It's a really bad thing. That's why a lot of times the reptile community gets a bad rap. It's because of stuff like that. People go out and impulse buy. They don't know what they're getting, don't know what they want. Then they just find that, oh, there's this cute little lizard, I'm going to buy this. And it's never a good idea. Please, 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 if you're going to buy an exotic animal, reptile, amphibian, whatever, please do some research on it. You can use Google and find out any information you need to in the world about any animal. Just do some research. Find out how big they get when they're an adult, how big of room they need, their conditions, everything. Like I said, the humidity, live plants. Like, see, I've got a lot of live plants in here. All these plants are safe for the animal. That's another thing. If you want to use live plants in your enclosure, do some research on what's safe for your animal. You can put the wrong kind of plant in here if they take a bite out of it. If they like the bright colors, don't try to stay away from flowers. These Chinese water dragons, most lizards, they see the bright colors, it attracts them. They'll want to try to take a bite out of it, mess with it, whatever. Try to stick away from bright colors. Green, light green, stuff like that's perfect. And it's good coverage for them too. Sorry about my finger being there. But it's good coverage for them. As you can see, she's really well camouflaged in with the colors of the plants I've got in there. Now this right here, ivy up here, is fake. It is not real ivy. I got a comment about that on one of my other videos. It's not real ivy. It's fake. So, but other than that, all the plants are real. All those plants right through here, all of them are real. And got water in here. Keep your water clean. They will not drink dirty water. That's another thing about water dragons a lot of people don't understand. Water dragons use the bathroom in their water. They don't use it on the ground. They use their bathroom in the water. So keep the water clean. Make sure when they use the bathroom, clean it out. They will not drink dirty water, and the running water will attract them towards the water where they know the water is. Keep some kind of circulation in the water so it doesn't go stag as fast. Refresh your water every couple of days. Clean it out weekly. Keep it clean so they will not drink dirty water. As far as meal wise, feeding them, you can just basically any insect out there they'll eat. I use these super worms. You can find these relatively easily at any pet shop. Don't use them as a staple diet though. They're really high in fat. So it's basically like a bag of potato chips or a candy bar or some kind of junk food for us. It's not good to eat continuously. It doesn't have enough nutrients, but it's high in fat. So if you've got a skinny lizard, skinny water dragon, and kind of on the lean side, and you want to get some weight on it because it looks sickly, those are good to use. They'll get its weight up really fast. You don't have to feed them that much. Crickets are a pretty good staple diet for these. They're, as far as insect-wise, easy to get a hold of. They're really, really good. They're easy to get a hold of. They're really good nutritional-wise. They've got lots of protein in them and blah blah blah. They're good for the animals. They're pretty easy to get a hold of. Now you can get the roaches, Turkestan roaches, and pretty much any kind of roach you can get for these things that are really good for them too. But as far as that, superworms, crickets are really easy to get a hold of for somebody. You don't have to go online and do all that searching for all that and everything. Crickets are, you can go to a local pet shop, cricket, superworms, done. And pretty easy to get a hold of and get. But yeah, this is her enclosure right here, once again. And that's one other thing I forgot to mention, the water. Make sure you've got a lot of water. Let's say she's got a pretty big water area for her. They like to swim. Make sure it's deep enough they can submerge themselves fully underwater. They like to swim, thus their name being a water dragon. They obviously like water. So, they need water, high humidity. 87 to 90 degrees needs to be the temperature. Her basking spot sits around 92, 93. Good warm basking spot where she wants to sit there. Hot side, cool side. Plants help keep humidity up. That's another good pointer if you want to. But please do some research on what plants are good for your animal. If you put the wrong plant in there, like flowers, stay away from flowers. Not good for it. Live ivy is not good for your animals either. That's fake ivy that I've got in here just for decoration only, for her camouflage, and that's it. Flowers are bad. They'll attract them to want to take a bite out of it. Just stick away from those. Lots of moving, lots of climbing room. They don't need to be in a cramped space. Need lots of room. Make sure if you're going to buy one of these, you have the means to house them properly. Okay? That's a big, big thing. Is to make sure you have the room and the space to care for these things, and you have the means to take care of them. You need to be able to keep their humidity up, you need to be able to keep their temperature up. They need lots of climbing, lots of moving around room, lots of water space. It's a good pet to have, but if you don't know what you're doing, you will kill this animal. They're not that hard to kill. And I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody off of these animals or anything. They're really cool animals to have. I love mine to death. They're just, if you're going to do it, just please do some research before. Don't just run out and grab one and then come home and be like, I'm going to stick it in a 10-gallon aquarium, 20-gallon aquarium, whatever, and be done with it. It's not going to work. Temporary measures for a baby, 10, 20 gallons, perfect. But one for about her size is not going to work. I mean, for her, you can probably get away with 55 gallons. Me personally, I stick away from glass tanks. I don't like glass tanks. I like the wooden ones a lot better. They keep the humidity up higher. They're easier to keep the temperature up. And water dragons have a problem with glass. They will rub on the glass a lot. I've tried covering hers up, and it didn't work with her. She's got, I don't know if I can, she's got her head turned where you can't see right now, but she's got a spot on her lip where she's rubbed so much. I don't know really what their problem is with glass, but they will rub on the glass. So that's another thing. If you get a glass tank, cover at least 3 sides, cover 3.5 if at all possible, so that they can't see out, because they will rub. But they're really awesome animals to have, though. I mean, they're medium-sized lizards. They don't really get that big, 3 foot long. It's not that big of a, I mean, it's pretty big lizard, but not unhandleable. But they do need a lot of room. It's like full grown. If you had a male and female, I'd put them in a 6 foot by 6 foot and maybe 2 or 3 foot deep enclosure. And there'd be lots of room for them to move around, lots of room for them to climb in, with lots of limbs and climbing, a lot of coverage on the ground, especially if you've got a male and female, places for her to go find to lay eggs and everything. Just, yeah, but they're really cool though. They are really cool animals to have. They're not that bad to take care of. Just do a little bit of research before you go out and buy one, and make sure you can keep one in where you live. Just make sure you have the means to house one properly. The humidity, the temperature, and all that. So, I want to try to make some educational videos, so anyone that's subscribed to me, or if you're not subscribed to me, comment. Tell me what you want to see as far as educational wise, like animals, what you want to know about them. Let me know, and I can make a video. I want to start doing this to try to help people out. So please just let me know what you want. Thank you. Comment, subscribe.